Hey YouTubers, and welcome once again to the Samurai Monkey 42. In this video, I decided to show you guys some of my books that I have of samurai swords and World War II Japanese weapons and artifacts. So I'm going to be showing you guys some of these books. These are just great books that you guys can find a lot of information on if you're trying to start a collection of Japanese World War II antiques. So they're just really great books to have. You can have a lot of you can find a lot of information about just items from the time. So this is one of the first books, and it's Samurai Swords, a collector's guide to Japanese swords. And in this book you are going to find 206 pages, and really it gives you a lot of pictures on different type of Japanese weapons from the time, and also a lot of information of different periods of times in Japan. So very cool book to have. As you can see, it gives you information, just different type of weapons and ancient swords. Shows you the different types of and the different parts of the samurai sword. It gives you information of just World War II and how Japanese swords are made. This is another great book on Japanese and military. This book is called Japanese Military and Civil Swords and Dirks by Richard Fuller and Ron Gregory. Bought all these books a few years back after I started collecting Japanese antiques. And obviously this is a book that gives you a little bit more about World War II Japanese swords and a lot of information about just World War I and World War II. A lot of sword sabers from World War I. Great book, shows you just different rare swords from the time. Like this one here, there's a carved dragon on it. It really shows you different pieces from the time. I just came across this picture of a Kaigonto sword, and you can see that it has this little knot right there connecting the hanger to the handle. That's pretty cool. This is another book from my collection, and this is this book here. The name of this book is Imperial Japanese Good Luck Flags and 1000 Stitch Belts. And this book here shows you different types of Hinomaru flags from World War II, which is a very awesome book. Shows you pictures of different type of weapons captured from the time. But this book is mainly about Japanese flags, Hinomaru flags, and you can see a lot of these pictures where soldiers would take pictures with their families before going to war. The different type of corners of the flags, various different categories, different type of just Navy and military and the Air Force that were given to soldiers at the time. This is a great photo the soldiers took right before going into war. Really awesome book to have if you want to learn about just Japanese Hinomaru flags. This book contains, let's check out very end of the book just so we can see how many pages this book contains. It's 285 pages, and great book. Here's another great book of World War II Japanese swords from 1868 to 1945. The book is called Swords of Imperial Japan. 1868 to 1945 encyclopedia by Jim Dawson. I had to stop the video because I ran out of battery. So I was checking the Swords of Imperial Japan from 1868 through 1945. This is a great book by Jim Dawson, and this book shows you just different types of rare Japanese swords from the time. This is this book was dedicated to his father, James Dawson, and it has 441 pages. It shows you just the different type of swords at the time and pictures of Japanese soldiers at the time. Like there's this Japanese soldier, and it reads Imperial Japanese Army Second Class Private Taniguchi Naruki poses for a studio photograph. He carries a German sword. So how did this happen? Sometimes Japanese soldiers would purchase weapons from they used to purchase weapons from their like in different countries, so they didn't necessarily have to be weapons produced in Japan. So they could easily buy a sword from Germany or carry a sword from Russia after World War One. And here shows you the different types of weapons from the time that were just reused during World War II. Different types of pictures, informations about just swords at the time. Check out this rare General Perret sword. It has some engravings here. It reads, play inscription on the General Grey sword's pictures. The kanji states that on January 20th, 1895, Meiji 28 at Kinshu Castle, China, the officers on the 1st Battalion presented the sword to an officer named Marui on the occasion of his promotion. So this is just awarded to him, and you're gonna find this kanji here. So it's a very unique sword. And look at this other. Well, the sword also has a little flag here. I've seen a lot of those fake Japanese NCO swords have a flag like this. So I guess they got a copy of maybe something like very unique from a sword like this and put it into all the Japanese NCO swords, which is a very uncommon for Japanese weapons at the time. Just many different swords at the time. Just of course just rare pieces. You got the Kaigonto sword. Shows you just information and where the Japanese government started to produce these swords. This is another weapon from the time, and it has they reused a Nambu pistol like this one, and they had applied it into a sword. It's cool, very cool. Look at that. Different type of tassels. I've previously made videos about the different type of Japanese tassels from the time. Different types of belts and hangers. And this is one of the best books that you can have when collecting Japanese swords, and it's Modern and Ochigata Book of Modern Japanese Swordsmiths from 1868 through 1945 by Livio W. Zillo. This here shows you know that this sword reads Modern Japanese Swordsmiths, and that's because swordsmiths from this period are considered modern, because they have just different methods on when doing Japanese swords. Japan had done swords from many years before this time, so this were actually new Japanese swordsmiths. And this book just shows you just the different type of signatures on those weapons from the time. Just very informational book to have. And you can see this page here just covers the Natetsu railway company swords at the time. Check out this really cool Chiketsugu Japanese sword. Just a beautiful carving. I don't think I've ever seen a Japanese sword like this. This is just one of the best pieces. The kanji characters are just perfectly just carved in there. Just very beautiful calligraphy from the time. This book is 269 pages. There's also a picture of a kid with a Japanese sword toy at the time. Well, those are some of the books that you guys can have. They contain a lot of information about Japanese swords, weapons, and artifacts from the time if you're trying to make a collection. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that this video was just helpful and it will help you guys just to get information on building your own collection. Thank you so much for watching and have a good